Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Enorita James. I am a clinical research scientist of over 22 years experience. Today I'm going to be talking about cancer. A lot of people have heard the C word, cancer. And for somebody that is diagnosed of cancer, you will think that your world has come to an end, or it is a death sentence. I am not going to be speaking from a point of a scientist. I'm going to be speaking from a point of somebody that has been diagnosed of breast cancer before. So I feel that the greatest fear when one is diagnosed of this disease is ignorance. So I've decided to, in this video, talk about what exactly is cancer. How does it come about? How does it grow? How does it find its way into the human body? So stay tuned. If you came across this video and unfortunately you are diagnosed of any kind of cancer, or somebody you know, or somebody that you love, or a family member, I think you'll be able to really understand what this disease is all about. How does it happen? Because believe me, the greatest fear really is not knowing what it is and how to deal with it and which way to go when one is diagnosed. So let's start. Let's find out what exactly is cancer. So what then is cancer and how does it occur in the human body? Cancer is a kind of uncontrolled growth of cells in the body. And this happens when the normal control mechanism stops working. That means cells are supposed to grow, and there is a mechanism that tells the cells stop growing. And the cells die, and then new cells are formed. But when this normal control mechanism stops working, the cells begin to grow out of control. And they form new abnormal cells. And these extra cells may form a mass of tissue, which is normally called a tumor. Now, let me talk about a few facts about blood vessels. Why am I talking about this? It is so that when we eventually talk about why these particular cells multiply without stopping to form these tumors that are called cancer tumors, what happens? So, understanding a few facts about blood vessels will help you understand what actually goes wrong for these cells to multiply. We know the human body is filled with millions of blood vessels. And most times these blood vessels occur when we are in our mother's wombs. We don't have blood vessels growing when we are adults, except on 3 special occasions. In a woman, whenever a woman has menses every month, the blood vessels have to be, rebuilt again for the uterine lining for the next monthly cycle. Another time that there is a growth of blood vessels is when there is an injury. So these blood vessels grow to help in the wound healing. And the third way that you have blood vessels is when new cells need to be fed for them to grow. Now, this particular point is very important when it comes to that cancer growth. At any given situation, the body has the ability to actually regulate the amount of blood vessels produced at any given time. There is a kind of inhibition and stimulation mechanism through which the body can actually regulate the amount of blood vessels that are produced in your body at any given time. So this now brings me to a word known as angiogenesis. Don't worry, I'll tell you what it means. Angiogenesis is the physiological process through which new blood vessels form from pre-existing vessels that were formed in the earlier stage of life. So the process whereby new blood vessels are being formed is known as angiogenesis. And I brought in this word, even though it sounds very big, because that is the basis of the formation of cancer most times. So angiogenesis is a normal thing, as I said initially. Production of cells, especially in 3 occasions which I've mentioned previously. And the ability of angiogenic factors not being inhibited when the body says stop. So there are angiogenic factors that are responsible for bring about angiogenesis, which is the formation of these blood cells. Now, when these factors are not inhibited, then there's excessive multiplication of cells that takes blood, because there's excessive nerves or blood vessels are being formed that is taking blood to these cells, causing these cells to over multiply. And when there's over multiplication of cells, definitely that leads to a lump, and that leads to cancer. On the other hand, there are some cases where these angiogenic factors are not also stimulated, and this can also cause another kind of disease. But what I'm particularly interested in is in this one, when the angiogenic factors are not inhibited, and then blood is supplied and the cells multiply uncontrollably. Now, when that happens, it results in diseases. So when the angiogenesis is out of balance, as I just showed you previously, it results in diseases. When there is no thing stopping it, the very first disease you can see is cancer, and some other diseases that it can cause. But I'm just interested in this, and particularly breast cancer. Now, when it is not even sufficiently stimulated, these are the kind of diseases that it results in. You can see even coronary heart disease is part of it. So that is how powerful angiogenesis is. So when you hear something like angiogenesis, simply means formation of blood cells that carry blood, formation of blood vessels that carry blood to cells, causing it to multiply. Autopsy studies have actually shown that 40% of women between 40 to 50 years already have microscopic cancer cells in their breast, and 50% of men between the ages of 50 and 60 have microscopic prostate cancer cells. All these cells, all cancer cells, always start out as harmless tiny cells, nothing. But when they are fed by uncontrolled blood vessels, they become cancerous. They grow into cancerous lumps. So that is the basis of it. So from this you can now understand that ability to control and prevent this angiogenesis can prevent cancer cells from even forming. That means ability to ensure that angiogenesis is taking place the way it should. It is not overexpressed. It is actually being regulated normally. Can actually prevent cancer cells from forming. And this is most of the basis for some of the drugs that are given, and the basis for some of the nutrients that God has already made available for you in terms of cancer prevention. I have come to the end of this video, and I would like you to watch my next video where I actually take you through the different kinds of cancer treatment that are available for you if you've been diagnosed of cancer, especially breast cancer. I'll talk about other cancers, of course, but it's good to know that when you're diagnosed, you have an idea of which way to go and which path to take for the treatment of whatever kind of cancer you've been diagnosed of. So that's my take on what cancer is and what actually causes the multiplication of cells. I hope it was not too difficult for you to understand. And I hope you've gotten a little idea of how cancer cells form and how they multiply. Watch my next video on different treatment methods that are available if, unfortunately, you are diagnosed of breast cancer. There are different treatment methods, and I really want to make it as simple as possible to the simple person that is listening of the options you do have, especially if the breast cancer has been diagnosed early. So watch my next video, and thank you so much for watching this video.